what we like to achieve, and then go into more into the particulars of our products and the things that you would most probably be interested in, what the selling points are, and things like that. So, so first of all, Fantasea actually started a long time ago, as far back as 1971, when I was a young guy from California, moved over to the Middle East and set up a base of operations in the Red Sea in Sharm el-Sheikh. And for 25 some odd years, I was basically taking people around to take pictures in the Red Sea, and ran a diving operation called Red Sea Divers, and then a liveaboard operation called Fantasea Line. And but I always had a passion for underwater photography, and about the year 2000, actually, I formed a company called Fantasea Line, which basically allowed me to continue on in a very active way in underwater photography. It was just the beginning of the digital revolution, and there was an opportunity because Nikon had stopped with their Nikonos and basically pulled away from digital photography, so to speak, underwater. And so I grabbed that moment and started making housings for the Nikon Coolpix around that time. And you know, basically we learned from zero and probably made every mistake possible along the way. But the idea was basically to create a platform for people to use name brand cameras, not cheap, you know, third level cameras, but mainline trade name cameras like Nikon, Canon, or whatever, Olympus, Sony, and to make housings and accessories for them, but make them also affordable for the burgeoning new wannabe underwater photography market. You know, personally, I like to go, or for many years worked, you know, underwater with nice SLR housings and cameras and all that stuff, the kind of stuff you usually sell over there at Backscatter. But we felt that the market opportunities were more on the entry level, but to bring a little level of quality of beyond Pioneer Sea Life or Intova, or you know, some of the brand names that were being made by Canon and Fuji and others at the time, and try to give a little, you know, more added value for the product. So that was the concept basically, is to find a niche somewhere between Pioneer Sea Life and at the time maybe Icolite, and try to take it off from there. So we started with Nikon Coolpix. We moved on recently, the last few years, by popular demand, to go into the Canon G series, and we're basically now kind of established there on the upper ends of the compact, high-end compact cameras. Our next projects will probably be the next Canon G17 when it comes, and also maybe the next Sony RX100 in that series, because we read what everybody is saying. We're pretty much attuned to the market. All of our company are underwater photographers and have a passion for diving, and we hear what people are saying. So that's the direction that we're probably going to be going in. We're also playing with the idea of maybe a housing for a cell phone, because that seems to be a growth area as well. And we're not ignoring the mirrorless as well. So we're looking at all those things all the time. We manufacture in China. Our offices are in Asia. United States is based out of Vancouver, where Ron is, and some of Jim and some of you have met Ron already. He runs our operations in North America, and we obviously have offices and warehouse in Europe as well. And basically the core products that Fantasea is working on right now is a affordable and I think quite functional and high quality compact housing for the Canon G16. We believe that the core of any system is the camera. I mean, you start with a good camera and then you try to make it as functional and usable as possible. So we found that, well, the most popular high-end compact camera in the world today is this one right here. It's a G16, and it's arguably one of the best. You know, maybe I know the purists like the big sensor of the the Sony, and I think it's a great camera, and I think we're going to go there in that direction. But we've gotten extremely good results with the Canon G16, as we did with the Canon G15. So basically we start with the camera, and from the camera we start to create a system. The difference between us and the Icolite housing is basically we design every housing for each camera. In other words, we don't use a set box and then drill holes and fit it and all that. So ours, I think, are more ergonomic and much more functional in a very tighter area. There's no dead space in the housing because it's designed basically to every camera. So with the start there, we go into to create the housing. I'm just going to show you here. This is the Fantasea. You have one on the table there, so you don't need me to show it to you. But at this opportunity, I'd just like to share with you that we're constantly trying to upgrade and improve. So we've now added in the box, and you probably received some already if you haven't, and I see you have a box there on the table, but we now have a lens port cover, which you can see here, which was definitely needed because people were getting their lenses scratched up and stuff like that. And that comes with a little snap cord so it can hang if you want to keep it on in the water. And we also added this kind of cool hand grip, which is very, very helpful, especially if people are doing surf photography or they just want to go with one hand, and you could operate just the housing for the most part with one hand using this strap here. So that's a new product as well. And by the way, this is a generic product. In other words, this product can be used for other housings as well. It just with Velcro, it's kind of cool. It just I don't know if you've seen them yet, but you should take a look at it. And we're going to package them also in their own little packaging, so you could sell those at the shop for probably any. I mean, like I know that the Canon S series is very popular. The S120, S10, 110. This strap would be perfect for those as well. Okay, and also by the way, the lens cap cover is also universal, and I mean to a certain degree, because it's usually for the more robust kind of ports, but these also will be sold independently. But they come in the box now for no added price. The other innovation that we made recently, and you can see it on the housing, probably on the table, is that we added a leak detector, which is also was put in on all the G16s, and Jim's going to demonstrate it right there because he's going to wet his finger with it, and then he's going to put his finger on the thing. Yeah, there we go, and put it on the bottom there. Yeah, now it's going to make you crazy for the rest of my presentation. Yeah. By the way, there's no warranty if the battery runs out, Jim. Anyway, so yeah, you could just close it up. But that's coming now in every compact Fantasea housing, and we didn't add anything to the price on it. So we think that's a great feature, although we've had very, very few floodings based on anything except for, if there is any, it's usually on user error, not because of. There's a double O-ring there, you can see. There's a white O-ring, which is a compression O-ring on the inside of the housing, and on the back door you have a radial O-ring, which just gives you a good, nice double seal. It's compact, it's easy to hold. It's got 3 1/4-inch holes on the base of it, so you could put it onto any tray, and we'll talk about the trays in a second. And we take a lot of pride in this housing. Also, we managed to, in this particular housing, to allow for the sub-command dial, which is the dial which goes around the multifunction dial on the camera, which is used for aperture. It's kind of rotating dial. It's a very hard dial to design a control for, but we managed to do it. And if you look in the back door of the housing, you can see it back there on the inside. You have to go inside it, and you can see it's like a round thing, but it does 6 functions. That one control there, which is also the OK control, so we're the only housing in the G series that has that control. We're also the only housing at the top which allows for the flash to go down, because it's not a problem to pop up the flash, it's a problem to cancel the flash when you want to go to natural light. So we designed a special control on the right top which allows for the flash to be pushed down halfway, which basically cancels it, and it just is easy to, it's on the top left of the housing. Anyway, those are two features that we're particularly proud of, and I think they give a different added value to the Fantasea FG16. Okay, so aside from the housing, and I'll get to the housing system in a second, we also pride ourselves in making affordable LED video lights for video, and also night dives, focus lighting, and also optics, specially designed and patented optics, because one of the core problems of these cameras, like the G16, is its wide range from wide angle to zoom, and the size of the port that you need to accommodate that, which creates a vignette situation in wide angle. So if you put in a standard wide angle lens, you're going to get a huge vignette. So we got a patent on the thing we call the Big Eye. It's a patented lens which basically allows you to maintain the camera's core wide angle. You don't lose it through magnification once you put it under the water. And we're now in the second generation. It's a very popular product, and for these housings, and we now added a anti-flare coating to it, because one of the big problems with these dome ports, as you know, is the sun flare when you're diving, you know, in bright sunlight. So we have, it's a better, higher quality. Optics, we do the macro. We have a series of filters, red filters and magenta filters. We call it red eye and pink eye, and they either just snap right on the housing port, or they could actually, the filters could also be put in the Big Eye itself. So if you're using the Big Eye, let's say shooting video in natural light, you could put a red filter behind it, and it's a very cool addition. So once again, we do the housing, we do the optics, and we do the lighting. And basically what we try to do is create an overall platform for the kind of advanced beginning diver, beginning underwater photographer, which he goes in the waters with a toolbox or a camera bag full of things, but instead of carrying around the bag, we just allow a way. Just one second. Oh, sorry about that. By the way, this is the Big Eye here. Before I put it on, this is the Big Eye. It comes with its neoprene cover, which just kind of comes off here. And we store everything on the flex arm. So here you see basically our system. This is the full Monty. In other words, about everything that you need to take under the water on a compact camera. So starting on this side, you have a Big Eye. That's the Big Eye that just snaps right onto the lens port here. You could also mount a red filter onto it, so you could shoot natural light. On this side I have the red filter, which goes also on the lens port, and this side I have the macro. And the macro also, if you want to put a red filter, you can mount it on there as well. We have the flex arms we make. We have a universal tray, which you can see here we call the Blu-ray tray, and it's very good because it's you can make it big, larger or smaller depending on your needs, and we'll talk about that in a second. And it's definitely universal. Okay, and then the other thing I wanted to just say, in another thing, nice thing that we did with the fiber optic cables is, you see here, we're using the Enon S2000 for a kind of a house strobe right now, and the fiber optic cable just plugs right in here. You see, and it just goes right into a port there, and it's just ready to shoot. Of course, you want to shoot two strobes, you have two, so you could put a second one in there. If you want to use the in-house strobe, you pop that out, and then we have a diffuser, which is right here, which comes in the box, and you just can snap that on, and then you could